You're watching Cape Media News, brought to you by Cape Media Center.
Tonight on Cape Media News, vets and friends meet at Dennis Center for Active Living.
And Dennis residents aim to preserve the charm.
Plus, a look at Hyannis Public Library's CrodCon. These stories and more are coming up next on Cape Media News. Good evening, it's April 19th, and welcome to Cape Media News, your source for hyperlocal news that matters. I'm Lauren Williamson.
And I'm Mitch Sock. Our top story tonight takes us to the Dennis Center for Active Living, where local group, Vets and Friends, held their monthly meetup.
Earlier this year, at the grand opening of the Dennis Center for Active Living, we spoke with Charlie Jones, organizer of the Veterans Group at the Senior Center.
I helped organize about a year and a half ago our first effort, a veterans program, to get it started. And we had a committee that we put together and discussed what we should do and what we should be trying to do. And after a great debate, we settled on a name, which is now Vets and Friends. And we meet every month. On the third Tuesday of the month, we meet for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. And we have, it's very casual. It's not like what people normally think about when they go to one of these sort of quasi-military meetings where people sit there and listen to the old man talk about something they don't care about hearing anyway. So we invite, or I invite, a couple people to come in for each monthly meeting and give them about 5 minutes to say who they are and what program they're involved in. And then we push them out into the crowd. And the idea is to get them one-on-one with our veterans and the people who are members. And what we found is, in that casual atmosphere, our members will actually ask questions that they care about, rather than be embarrassed by perhaps asking something in front of the big crowd.
At this week's April meeting, Charlie had retired NHL player Dan Lacouture as guest speaker. We met back up with Charlie this week to give us a look at Vets and Friends in action.
The real dark secret in all of this is we want to find those veterans. In Dennis alone, there are probably 300 veterans who live alone and stare at the walls and don't come to these meetings. And so we try and use this as a vehicle so that someone who's here today will go home, talk to their neighbor, and say, you should have come, and we'll get them next month. And that's what we're trying to do, to take care of them. And so as you can see today, nice crowd. They all enjoy it. They have good things said about Dan, and it's a good session. So we don't do the formal thing. We ask, and in Dan's case today, very graciously agrees to come. He doesn't ask us for anything. He wants to come. And he just gets in and talks about what it's like to be a professional hockey player, or what life was like as he worked his way through the system, and so forth. And so we have them, people like him. We've had golfers come and just let your mind wander. We're lucky that the people are good, and all I really have to do is ask and work them into our schedule and their schedule, and here they are.
I mean, Charlie asked me, if I'd come and speak to the vets, and I wish I could do more stuff like this. I mean, I do a lot of work with the Bruins alumni. We do a lot of events for whether it's for vets or fallen vets or policeman, firefighter, or a sick person. Anytime someone asks me to do something, whether it's here locally or with the alumni, or I'm always happy to do it. So.
Come see us, try us. You can see today how popular it is, and how much, as I walked around the room now, people are saying how much they enjoyed hearing them. You don't get that done, and you can find out these things about life in general that you're missing. So between us, people who work with me as volunteers, and the staff here, Sherry and Kelly, Martha, and others, a quick phone call, and we got help. Couldn't ask for more.
For Cape Media News, I'm Mitch Sock.
Chatham Recycles is hosting a free book and media swap at the Chatham Town Annex on April 27th and 28th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can drop off any unwanted books or media in boxes or bags. Items like CDs, VHS tapes, cassettes, vinyls, and jigsaw puzzles will all be accepted. But you don't need to drop anything off in order to take items home. To view a full list of items you should and shouldn't bring to the swap, you can head to chathamrecycles.org.
And also on the 27th, you can join the town of Dennis for their 2024 Dennis Conservation Celebration. Pre-register online to take part in a friendly trash collecting competition amongst the 5 Dennis villages. Meet at Johnny Kelly Park at 10 a.m. and happy trash hunting, Dennis.
Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach Center has added several new donation bin locations around the Cape. Some of the locations include Alignment Plus Auto Repair in Hyannis, Cape Cod Fish and Game Club in Hyannis, Cultural Center of Cape Cod in South Yarmouth, Harwich Community Center, ODS Guns in Yarmouth, and Site 1 Landscape Supply in Dennis, and over a dozen more. Requested donation items include non-perishable food products such as pasta and canned veggies, and personal hygiene products like shampoo, soap, and toothbrushes. If you have space at your business and would like to host a donation bin, call Barbara Ann Foley at 508-237-3349.
The town of Yarmouth Animal Control and the MSPCA is offering a vaccination and microchip clinic for your pets. Rabies and distemper vaccinations will be available with a suggested donation of $10 per vaccination and $15 per microchip. Appointments will be available from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Friday, May 3rd. Visit tinyurl.com/MSPCA Yarmouth to sign up.
Applications for the Harwich Republican Town Committee Scholarship are now open. Each year, the Republican Town Committee awards $1,000 scholarship dollars to a Harwich senior graduating from high school or vocational school. To be considered for this scholarship, applicants must live in Harwich, be graduating from high school this year, and must fill out the scholarship application, which includes a short essay question. To learn more or to apply, you can visit harwichgop.com.
Last week, the Harwich Community Center hosted a free ping pong tournament for the community, and our sports producer, Ryan Downs, was there to capture the action. Take a look.
Last Thursday night, the 11th, the Harwich Community Center hosted their first ever ping pong tournament. The tournament was free to enter and consisted of a doubles bracket and a singles bracket. While there were only 4 teams entered in the doubles tournament, it was a double elimination with service of 5 playing to 21. After 6 games total, the team of Joe and Kate won without dropping a single game, going 3-0 and claiming the title of doubles champions. This time, all of the participants were now expected to rally with one another and rotate tables and partners for a short period so they could get their skills assessed and the singles bracket could be seeded. Once the bracket was ready, the singles tournament was underway. Again, the games were to 21 with service of 5, only this tournament was a single elimination. There were 18 people included in the bracket ranging from ages 11 to 83, and the top 2 seeded were granted a first round bye. The final match featured Bonnie, who had won 4 matches and took down the fan favorite Dylan in the process, the number 2 seed overall in the semifinals, versus Phil, the number 1 seeded player who breezed his way into the finals. Bonnie won the coin toss and elected to serve first. She won the first point of the match, but it quickly became lopsided. The final score was 21-5, with Phil being crowned the champion.
You know what it was? I wasn't using my paddle. That's why I lost.
Coming up after the break, sports and more. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Cape Media News. I'm Mitch Suck.
And I'm Lauren Williamson. The Dennis Citizens for Responsible Development, a nonprofit organization that aims to honor the rich history of Dennis, held an informational session last week at the Dennis Center for Active Living. A group of about 30 came to listen and ask questions about the group's Preserve the Charm initiative.
We came here today because we started this campaign called Preserve the Charm, and Preserve the Charm is a campaign to purchase a piece of land in Dennis Village on 6A. And the campaign is a couple months in, and there were a lot of questions, so we thought, well, let's have an open session, let people come, give them information firsthand, answer some questions. The nonprofit organization that's leading the campaign is Village Improvement Society. You guys have probably been here a while. You know about the senior center, right? Village Improvement Society has been in business since the early 1900s. I think this is their 90th year, and they exist to make the village better for the residents. We have come together because it's important sometimes to say no to development. We want housing, we want affordable housing, we want housing for the right place, in the right places, for the right purposes. And this proposal seems to not have all of the best interests of meeting those goals. And so we have determined that this piece of property has a great provenance, it's historic, it's in our Old Kings Highway Historic District, and it's worth saving for future generations to have a piece of history preserved instead of really clear-cut and developed on. We have an opportunity to preserve this piece from any development ever. And so that's where Village Improvement Society came in and said, let's preserve it. We've done this before. The town has come together. We've raised money. We've created parks and playgrounds. So the Preserve the Charm campaign is a couple months in. We have another couple months of fundraising. All the details are at www.preservethecharm.com. If you want information, there's a form online that you can fill out. As a matter of fact, I will be the contact, so I will get back to you and answer your questions. And that also shows you how you can make a pledge for the campaign and how you can make a donation toward the campaign. And we're just really encouraged that so many people are so interested. We're getting very close to our campaign goal, and looking forward to everybody kind of coming along at the end and helping us reach our goal. So thank you for your support.
Monomoy Regional School District has announced that a limited number of school choice spots are available for the 2024-2025 school year for students residing in towns other than Harwich and Chatham. Interested families can submit an application from now until May 10th. Any applications received after May 10th will be considered on a space available basis. School choice acceptances will be determined by lottery if the number of applications within each grade exceeds the number of seats available, and applicants will be notified of their status on May 15th. As of now, the only available openings are in Chatham Elementary School for kindergarten students through grade 3. If you're interested, submit an online application at monomoy.edu/school-choice.
A lot of activities were held all over the Cape this week for kids on spring vacation. And the Hyannis Public Library hosted the first Comic-Con on Cape Cod. Dubbed CodCon, Cape Media News stopped by to check out all of the excitement.
This is our first Comic-Con, and we're calling it CodCon. We got grants from the Mass Cultural Council and the Mid-Cape Cultural Council, and just organized this first ever con, as far as I know, on Cape Cod. And we have vendors with all sorts of comic-related memorabilia and gifts that they've made. We have artists. We are having panel discussions about comic storytelling, about fan fiction, about voice acting. We had Clinton Johnson for our youth services librarian for a little while, and he started reaching out to people, and he met Rebecca Good, who's the children's assistant at the Yarmouth Town Libraries. And then we have some local comic artists on Cape who work through the Cordial Eye, Gabe Ribeiro and Craig Florence, and they all decided to help out, and I would never have been able to do it. So we're sort of co-sponsoring it with the Yarmouth Town Libraries, and Cordial Eye is doing spray painting on the wall. And yeah, I could never have done this by myself, but all of these comics fans who are very good at organizing came together, and here we are. This is the kind of event that people come to have fun. And even if they're serious collectors or serious artists, it's just, you can't not have fun at an event like this. So I also really like the fact that it draws new people to the library. It shows people that the library can be a place where you can find something to connect to. You can do content creation at the library. You don't have to just go in and read some boring book. You can read exciting books. But yeah, it's just community creating space.
Cooperative Bank of Cape Cod recently announced the recipients of this quarter's Foundation Trust Award grants. The bank has allocated $20,000 in grants for local nonprofit organizations dedicated to serving the critical needs of our community. The grants were awarded to Chatham Behavioral Health Innovators, Falmouth Wellstrong Elder Services of Cape Cod and the Islands, Hyannis Health Imperatives, and Best Buddies International to support the Best Buddies Jobs programs. If you're part of a local nonprofit that works in the community and would like to be considered for the Co-op's Charitable Foundation Trust grants, view all the guidelines at thecooperative.bankofcapecod.com.
Attention, beach and nature walkers. Avian influenza is on Cape Cod. If you encounter a deceased bird in the wild, notify your town's animal control office. While humans rarely contract the virus, it is very contagious amongst wild and domestic birds and can spread to other animals. Keep a close eye on your dogs while out walking, especially if they have a high prey drive, as catching a bird with the virus can result in your pet's infection. Never handle a bird carcass without gloves, a face mask, and eye protection. For more information, you can visit capecod.gov to read their full avian bird flu blog post.
And the Barnstable Town Council recently voted unanimously to approve an intermunicipal agreement with Sandwich and Yarmouth to establish a regional emergency communications center. Studies conducted by the town showed that a regional emergency communications center would not only make sense logistically, but also financially. As of right now, the towns operate individual public safety answering points. Grouping the three towns together pulls together resources and opens up grant opportunities within the state, increasing opportunities for training, staffing, and access to the latest technology. The Regional Emergency Communications Center will be located in Barnstable, but the exact address has yet to be determined. And lastly this evening, we send it to Ryan Downs with a recap of this week in sports.
Thanks, Mitch. It might be school vacation week for the students, but that didn't stop the action of spring sports. So let's jump right into it. Last Thursday, after we had already finished our taping, the Barnstable boys Lax team traveled to Nantucket for a match. It was a tough-fought 13-5 loss, but Barnstable was progressive in it. After falling down 8-0 with 6 minutes left in only the second quarter, they found their stride and pieced together a 5-5 contest the rest of the way. And they were able to keep that momentum this week as they traveled to Plymouth North on Tuesday and got their first win of the season with a score of 13-6. They now own a record of 1-4. And on the flip side, the Red Hawks baseball team lost their first game of the season also on Tuesday in a 2-1 battle with BC High. They sit comfortably till next week with a record of 4-1. DY has had a very difficult vacation week, combining for a record of 3-7. They have some much-needed rest from yesterday until Monday to strategize, as none of their varsity teams have a contest until then. Luckily, their baseball team walked away with a big 11-1 win over Marshfield to end their week with the victory. Monomoy has hardly had any competitions this week. In fact, they've had more postponements than scheduled events for the entire vacation, and the postponements all came from Friday heading into vacation. And Nauset was busy as ever this week, as they hosted 6 games and traveled to another 4. Both their boys Lax team and baseball team improved to 5-1 over the break. And on Tuesday, baseball hosted Duxbury for a doubleheader, and Cape Media News was there for the first of the 2 games. Sophomore pitcher Jack Doherty threw a very efficient complete game to pick up the win in what came out to be a 4-2 final. Although it's still early in the season, Nauset came out ready to go and was stealing bases, bunting for hits, and turning double plays. Senior Kiernan Hanville came up with some huge hits down the stretch to help Nauset out. In the bottom of the 4th, Hanville had a sacrifice fly to give Nauset a 2-1 lead, and then the go-ahead RBI to put Nauset back on top 3-2 in the bottom of the 5th. Nauset closed the game out with a beautiful double play, and then enjoyed some refreshments between games provided by the Nauset parents. They also came out with a win in the second game, with a final score of 9-2. And that's it for this week's Sports Update. Back to you, Lauren and Mitch.
Thank you for joining us this evening. If you have a story that you would like to see covered, send us an email at newstip@capemedia.org.
And tune in every week for more hyper-local news that matters right here on Channel 26, Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV.
And as you know, be sure to follow us on all of our social media, including Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. For Cape Media News, I'm Lauren Williamson.
And I'm Mitch Sock.